What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. So we're going to start this one off with an update from Iain Valliere. After retiring from the competitive side of bodybuilding at 8 weeks out of the Olympia, Iain has been finding a new passion in training and in a new side of the bodybuilding world. Of course, most of you are probably aware that Iain has been steadily downsizing. He's somewhere around the 250 pound mark right now, and Iain does still look very impressive from a physique standpoint. He's continuing on his journey to be a competitive track runner, but Iain has also now become a bodybuilding judge, which is very interesting to see. He officially judged his first competition over the weekend, which was the CPA Ottawa Championships, and this is something that Iain had talked about doing before. Shortly after he retired, he said he would like to be a judge someday, so he really wasted no time accomplishing that goal. And the way that judging works, at least my understanding of it, when it comes to progressing in your career as a judge, you basically start small and you work your way up. As you have more experienced judges there to advise and observe you as a judge, you can gain the opportunity to judge bigger and bigger shows. And again, that's my basic understanding of how it works when it comes to progressing as a judge. Now just imagine for a minute if Iain pursued this to the highest level and someday ended up being a judge at the Mr. Olympia. Now that would really make things interesting, and it would be an interesting way to remain in the sport of bodybuilding after retiring from competition. I do think Iain has a good eye for judging. He obviously has the experience as a competitor and as a coach at the highest level. So look, you guys let me know, what would you think if Iain Valliere someday became a judge at the Mr. Olympia competition? Do you believe that Iain would be fair and impartial, or would his experience as a competitor allow him to have some certain bias as a former athlete? Let me know below, but either way, congrats to Iain on continuing to find that passion in bodybuilding. Alright, so next up, we have a physique update from Brandon Curry, and this footage was taken in Kuwait shortly before Brandon traveled to Orlando. So this would be about a week out, and this is definitely a very impressive looking version of Brandon Curry. He looks like the conditioning is really dialing in here. The separation in the quads is looking on point. He seems like he's always round, you know. That's one thing about Brandon. He does not look very flat to me in this update, or any update I typically see. But this update definitely has the bodybuilding world talking about Brandon being a serious contender, not just for the top 5, but some are now talking about Brandon being a contender to win the title back. Now look, this is honestly how bodybuilding competitions work these days, you guys. The competitors who drop the most impressive updates before the show, they tend to get the most attention from the fans and from the analysts. And suddenly, someone you had in 5th or 6th place last week, now everyone starts to question their placings. And that's exactly what is happening here. You'll see the exact same thing happen with Regan Grimes, and we'll talk about Regan a little bit later in this video. But listen, I will not deny, Brandon does look more impressive in this update than he has in any other update leading up to the Olympia. But does he have a legitimate shot at taking back the title? Just based on this update alone, is this really enough to change the opinion of the masses? Or is this an example of an excellent camera angle with perfect lighting and everything working to create the most flattering image possible? Now look, it is also possible that Brandon does come in and shock the world, and I would never count out a former Mr. Olympia that is in any kind of decent shape from being outside the conversation for even the top 3 as a possibility. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below if this update has you changing your prediction for Brandon, and let me know where you think he might place if you are changing that prediction. As for me, I'm going to keep my prediction of 6th place for Brandon right where it is. Alright, so next up, I want to switch it up for a minute here and take a look at the 4-time men's physique champion, Jeremy Buendia. Now, this is the much anticipated return of Jeremy Buendia to the men's physique stage after a 5-year absence. And look, you guys, I am not an expert on men's physique. I do think the physiques are very impressive, but when it comes to this time of year, there are always a couple of men's physique updates that really impress me in terms of conditioning. Last year, I remember it was Ed Van Palmera that really impressed me. And Jeremy is looking, honestly, ridiculously lean and sucked down right now. From what the hardcore fans of men's physique are saying, Jeremy has never had a death face quite like this in any past contest prep. The shoulder to waist ratio is looking on point, he's looking very wide from the back, the midsection is streamlined, and Jeremy is definitely shredded to the bone right now. And this year for Jeremy is his redemption year. He wants that 5th title, and from what he's saying, he is pulling out all the stops to make it happen. There is no stone left unturned, he's focused, he's determined, but the question remains, how will Jeremy Buendia stack up against the new generation of men's physique athletes? I mean, the newer guys are honestly, they're wider across the shoulders, they're broader in the chest, they're wider and thicker in the back, and although Jeremy is working relentlessly to bring his physique up to that level, has he done enough to regain that title and make history in men's physique as the 5-time champion? Let me know if you guys are interested in the men's physique lineup this year, because for me, I'm definitely going to be watching out for Jeremy Buendia. Alright, so next up, we have an update from Wesley Vissers. Now, Wesley dropped some updates at less than 1 week out while he was training here in Orlando, and this is definitely going to be an impressive version of Wesley Vissers. It seems like each time he takes the stage, the conditioning really dials in that much more for Wesley. The striations through the chest and shoulders, even at 2 weeks out, was pretty ridiculous to see. You can see the death face in full effect on Wesley as well. He looks like he's knocking on death's door, you guys. So the final form of Wesley, I think, is going to be his best to date. Now, Wesley still may need to put on a bit more overall size before he's in that conversation for the top 5, but I do think that he's in a very good position to push for even the 6th or 7th place finish at this year's Olympia. And keep in mind that he took 8th place in 2022. If he nails that peak and comes in at his all-time best, I think you'll see Wesley continue to improve on his placings in the Olympia. So listen, you guys let me know in the comments below if you guys want to see a classic physique prediction video as well. Alright, last up, we have another physique update from Regan Grimes at only 4 days out of the Olympia. Now, Regan is absolutely shredded in this update. The glutes are shredded, which we haven't seen shredded glutes from Regan like this in the past. The detail looks pretty insane in the back. The hamstrings honestly look to be more carved out than what we've ever seen from Regan as well. Even the calves look to have some separation. This is definitely a very impressive update from Regan. Now, Regan has made some changes in order to bring his best to the Olympia stage. Since he qualified at the Europa Pro, Regan has been doing fasted cardio sessions of at least 45 minutes each, and he's been doing them between the hours of 2 and 5 a.m. He's been on very low carbs, which Regan has done in the past, but the big thing this time is that Regan recently had a food allergy test done, and he tested basically off the charts for an allergy to rice. Rice, you guys. This was a staple for Regan when it came to a carb source. Now, I believe that him and Milos think the allergy to rice may be part of the reason that Regan could never really achieve that crazy level of conditioning. The allergy may have been causing increased inflammation of the body, or, water retention, or both for that matter. There were other miscellaneous foods in there that he scored somewhat high on, but like I said, rice was just off the charts. Either way, Regan went off the rice basically immediately after finding out about this. So, this is the question. Could this be the X factor for Regan Grimes? Did Regan Grimes finally find out the formula to unlock his full potential? Or did he find out about this information too close to the Olympia? Because he did find out about this around the 2-week out mark. So with this update in mind, and now this new information, you guys let me know down in the comments below where you think this version of Regan Grimes will land on the Olympia stage. Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.